Creativity is an addiction. It does things to us. It teaches people to steal from other creative minds to make their lives a lot better. But we need that person. Keep them on the team. Or we sit there and we lay awake at night trying to figure out, how are we going to get this done? I've procrastinated way too much and now the pressure is on. It's like, oh my God, how can we have this relationship with the creative energy inside our souls? By learning to listen to it, by learning to love it. Unplugged, because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally uncut, because we all make mistakes. So turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. I write in a forest. I go into that forest to listen. It all started at the Billy Graham Library right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's evolved into a lifelong journey. Something has always been moving through me. I've taken it as a calling. Remember, these aren't my words. These are the lyrics from Billy's Forest. Chapter number 287, October 31st, 2021. I took note of the white pine this morning, its long needles a shade of faded yellow. I remember planting this as a seedling. It was struggling in the center of the forest, so I moved it to more sunlight. Today, its tree trunk is well-rounded with age. I love it when the white pines blanket the soil beneath it with its fallen needles. My heart finds amazing peace because it reminds me of the purpose of rebirth, which is something that so many walk through and beyond, to not recognize the gifts of relinquishing and rebirthing. We have been flattened by the COVID crisis. If we were a tree, our leaves would be few. To feed those roots, we require outreach, meaning our leaves. To learn from this isn't on a lot of people's minds. The goal is to push it away, when in fact, it needs to be walking into the season with leadership and faith. You know, revisiting those moments when we were inside the lockdowns, when we knew that there was a vaccine on the way, but we didn't have that much faith in would it really work. For the poet to be sitting inside this forest and recognizing the needles on the white pine changing to yellow, that's something that happens in the fall. And it was October 31st, 2021. But what the poet was learning was how those needles were on the forest floor because it needed to replenish the rooting system. Plus, it also needed to keep the ground warm for other things that we don't see. See, I'm a bug person. I love bugs. I love the way bugs like to hide. There's always something underneath all of these, including snakes. Snakes. So during those fall months, you've got to be aware here in the Carolinas of the snakes. You've got to be aware. But what happened is, with the COVID crisis, is that we did take our eyes off the storm. And as these variants continued to beat us up, and now here in 2022, and we're almost in the month of April, we've got another variant on the way, BA2. It shut down China. It shut down the UK. It's been reported in the northeastern part of the United States. But unlike the poet in the forest looking at this tree trying to figure out what is the story, we are pushing the story away. We don't want to deal with the COVID crisis anymore. We don't want to deal with everything, the supply chain. We don't want to deal with the war in Ukraine. We don't want to deal. We just want to push away. I have an apple tree near this white pine. This apple tree has been with me for over 20 years. The apple tree barely has any leaves anymore. That apple tree teaches me a lot. It has accepted its environment as well. But it's had to push away so many different things because it has been diseased all of these years by the different trees around it. That's what the arborist said. But I would not take down that tree. In your own personal life, what is poisoning you? And no matter how hard you push things away, your needles are falling to the forest floor. But if you aren't healthy mentally and physically, the next season, how many needles will be there to warm the forest floor next fall? This is not a guilt trip. This is not a challenge for you to change your ways. All it is for you to be aware of the stories around you. In all things around you, the answers are there. You've just got to be aware. I'm Arroe. These are not my words. These are the lyrics from Billy's Forest.